Hello again there folks, and thank you for joining me for another solo gaming playthrough. I'm the Lone Adventurer, and today we're going to be playing through, or at least taking a look at, the solo and cooperative sci-fi RPG adventure game Glide. If this is the sort of game that you enjoy and the sort of video content that you enjoy watching, please do consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the bell notification icon so you see when I release videos in the future. Now, Glide is an interesting little game. What you are essentially doing is exploring this science fiction desert planet, drawing the map, visiting locations and completing quests, and gradually trying to improve your fame amongst the residents of the planet. And when you hit a certain amount of fame, the game is over. You can play to 5 fame for a short game, 10 fame for a medium length game, and 15 fame if you want to take on a long game. We've got a character sheet here. This is the character sheet that I have been playing with as I familiarise myself with the game. In order to play, you need some dice, and you need a pack of cards, and you need the book, and that's more or less it. Oh, and you need a character sheet, and you need a hex sheet on which to draw the area of the planet that you are exploring as you play this game. Now, this is a solo game that is more table driven and mechanically constrictive than more free-form solo role-playing games. What I like about this game, and you'll see as we are playing it, is that it's sort of an exercise in gentle world building, and you're given a lot of the structure to facilitate that happening. So it's a particular type of solo gaming experience, but you'll see that as we are going through. We'll get into, the things that I like about it as we're going, but suffice to say, my interest has been piqued in this game by a couple of aspects of it that initially sort of confused me, and I didn't really understand how they were going to play out. Specifically, that you can't really die in this game. Let me find the page that sort of explains this. Okay, so here it is on this little section about best practices. It says, Glide is a sandbox for you to explore. There is no combat to defeat you or penalty for running out of stamina or water. These are the two things that you're tracking. Take your time and tell a story with the tools provided. So I was looking at the stats and thinking, well, where's your life? Where's the thing that you run out of and you die? And I was thinking, really, is this stamina here? And it's got a heart. So what happens when you die? And I couldn't really find that in here. And the answer is simply that. I obviously hadn't found that paragraph before. That death does not really happen. It's not an aggressive game. It's not a game where you're fighting for survival. Yes, you've got to manage these resources, and if you run out of stamina or you run out of water, that is an issue. But it's never going to result in you dying. So you're just sort of exploring, creating this world, and generally having a nice time. So I think what we'll do is we'll have a little flick through this book, and then we're going to have a go at creating a new character, which is not a particularly complicated or lengthy process. And actually compared to a game I played recently, Notorious, I'll put a link in the top of the video if you haven't seen that one, and down in the description. And the character creation in Notorious is not massively in depth, but it's more in depth than this. So this isn't going to take as long as that to create the character. Anywho, let's have a little look. So I won't read the introductory text. Suffice to say, you're on a planet. It is a planet that has become of interest to the great houses of the galaxy, the ruling factions of the galaxy, because a particular mineral, does it name it? I don't think it does. A particular mineral that can be mined here that basically can be used to terraform other planets. And because this mineral was available in quantity on this planet, all the houses came here, and it was basically sort of pillaged and left barren. And that's the world that we are in, this barren world that was pillaged by the great houses, and then they sort of left when the mineral had run out. The society on this planet is centred around major guilds. So you've got 5 guilds, sort of like communities of people who you can do missions for and who you interact with in various ways, I guess. So you've got the Guild of Ecology, Exploration, the Guild of the Glider. The glider is the go-to vehicle that is used to travel around this planet. It's the one that's on the front cover, a bit of a sort of a Star Wars vehicle that hovers and shoots around at speed. Then you've got the Guild of Relics and the Restoration Guild. So you've got these 5 groups. And we've got to consider the great houses. Then there's some minor houses which sort of work for the great houses, more sort of local rulers. And then you've got the Seekers, and we're a Seeker. And maybe I will read this out because I don't think I can express it, what a Seeker is myself, more succinctly. A Seeker is both a way of life and belief. I guess the belief is preserving the planet. So it's a very ecologically driven sort of outlook. Seekers come from all walks of life, many coming from off-world. Those who have lived their entire lives on Eridoor, that's the planet, if I didn't mention it, believe the Seekers to be moved by the heart of Eridoor, a mystical force governing the inhabitants to return the planet to its once beautiful straight state of green splendour. Those are probably just tales. So I don't know whether hidden within the tables and rules of this book is a sort of a way towards returning Eridoor to its former lush self, or whether that's just an overall incentive as you play the game. Right, so what have we got? A little introduction to the world, then we've got some stuff on character creation. And characters have 3 stats. You have hardy, knowledgeable, and resourceful. Hardy is your ability to survive in the harsh environment of Eridoor. Knowledgeable is characters who have knowledge of the area, how to navigate around the world, how to utilise the various technologies that are available to us to flourish in the world of Eridoor. And resourceful is sort of like your A-team skill, people who can solve problems using minimal resources around them, know how to answer questions and always have solutions they're willing to try out. So hardy, knowledgeable and resourceful. And these are used to resolve the various skill tests that we'll have to do as we are playing. So we've got various character backgrounds. They tell you what your hardy, knowledgeable and resourceful starting stats will be. And they give you a goal that you're working towards. They give you a special ability and then a second special ability that you get when you have achieved your goal. Which makes me think a little bit again of Star Wars Outer Rim, where you start with a special ability and basically exactly the same thing, and then when you have achieved a particular target you get to flip the card over, your character card, and then you get a second special ability. So what else have we got? We've got various other things that we need to track. Credits, money, scrap, which is just random bits and pieces you can sell, relics, which are sort of items from the past, sort of antiques and things you might find in long forgotten places from the past of Eridoor, and quest items, which are non-specific things. So if you've got a quest and it's like, hey, you've got to go and find 3 circuit boards for gliders, then you keep hunting around until you find quest items. And when you find quest items, those things are the circuit boards that you've been looking for. And you track basically just non-specific quest items that relate to your current quest. We're also tracking stamina, water and fuel. We'll get into those later. Then we've got some rules for how to do skill tests. Then we've got a page of optional, well not optional, a page that two pages that you select from of introduction events that sort of get the ball rolling. We'll come back to those obviously. What happens in a round, in a turn, so you can play cooperatively, so you can take it in turns and each take a turn and all of your turns makes up a round. In a turn you have various actions you can do: moving, revealing new tiles, exploring, camping. Then we've got a page of things we can do at settlements, rules for moving, rules for revealing tiles, rules for placing locations. So we've got this table of different locations. I think this is the first time, or actually the second time, but this is one of the times where we will start to use the cards. When you use a table like this, you flip a card, and this one is only split into blacks and reds, so we've got ace, red, and so if we flip that over when we're looking for locations, we would have found a giant snake skeleton. And there are rules for how you might draw those on the map that we'll go over as we're doing it. Then we've got rules for exploring places. Certain types of locations are explorable and you can find things. We've got a great big table of all the different types of locations that you can come across and what happens if you explore there. And again, we've got two options for each one. One for flipping over and getting a black card, and one for flipping over and getting a red card. So there's loads and loads of variety. Here's the first example that I've noticed anyway, of me getting this printed out myself and getting the page ordering slightly wrong. Not the ordering, but the way it's laid out, because this and this should be a single page spread so you can look at the whole image. So that's annoying. Then we've got things that might happen when you're exploring the desert, things that might happen when you're camping, and then equipment upgrades, glider upgrades, some super cool art. I love this clean black and white sort of almost cartoony art. There's another one. Look at the speeders, they're great. Maybe I'll move that a bit closer so you can have a little look. I do like how they look. Almost makes me want to colour them in, but I won't. Settlement encounters, I like the people as well. I really like the art in this. And yeah, so as you can see, lots of tables, lots of structure. What's this? Companions. I haven't even looked at companions yet. And then you've got the quests. So each guild has a page of quests. And I think, at least this is the way I understand it to work. I think you have to take each quest in turn. So when you have to take a level 1 quest, then your level with the guild increases to level 2, at which point you can do the level 2 quest. I think that's how it works. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So there's a lot of game in here, I think, and a lot of opportunities to play through numerous times and end up with a different experience each time. So the game is written and designed, and the layout is done by Cody Barr, and the art is done by Emil Boven and Perplexing Ruins, who I now know. Do you know what? I think I backed this on Kickstarter, I've got a feeling, and I think it's because I found out about it because Emil Boven probably shared links about it on Instagram, and I follow that person on Instagram. But anyway, designed by Cody Barr, and Cody has expressed an interest in producing additional materials for this, and I hope that they do. And in fact already has done, because we've got the Smugglers expansion. When you're exploring the desert, we can use this additional resource And it says official expansion number 1. That makes me happy. We've got some additional rules in here, and then we've got a whole bunch of smuggling quests and smuggling encounters. So when you're in the desert, you can elect to, rather than have a desert encounter, to have a smuggling encounter instead. Now, I don't know whether we're going to get into that in this series of playthroughs. I think there's probably enough to keep us busy in just the main book. But I think now we should probably make a character. Now, this character sheet that we've got here has a lot of spaces on here for the important information, but if I'm honest, I found it a little bit lacking when I was playing, especially coming from D100 Space, which I've been playing a little bit of lately, not as much as I would like, but a little bit of. And that game has very exhaustive sheets that allows you to record everything in its own place. It's probably a bit too much for some people, but it put me in a position where I found this sheet didn't quite do it for me. So I've made my own. But that's not to say this is bad. You've got a fame tracker up here, character name, background, there's something you get for your character. Then you've got the 3 main stats, the hardy, knowledgeable and resourceful. The other things you're tracking here: stamina, water, fuel, scrap, relics and quest items. You've got the speed of your glider. Then we've got space here for glider upgrades and equipment upgrades. You can see I'd already done an equipment upgrade in my other game that I'm playing. And finally over here we've got a tracker for the different locations, so you can label the locations on the map and then see what they are as you're gradually building up your world and getting more and more places. But you can see I've ended up adding a few other bits and pieces around the side. Up here I've got the ability that I was given, otherwise I would forget what that was. This sheet that I've made, a 2-sided sheet that's got everything that's on here, but I've also got a section for the ability, so I've got an abilities section there. Then what else have I put here? I've put my goal here. Remember, you get a goal each character, so I've got a section here for your character's goal. Then over here you're given an additional sort of rule to use to play. Like, some of them are things that just happen when you're doing setup, and some of them are ongoing effects during the game. So I've added a little introductory event section here where you can track any information that you might need from the introductory event. Also, you need to keep track of what level you are at with each of the guilds. So I've added a little guild tracker here, and actually with each guild you start at level 1. So actually I might divide this into boxes that you shade in as you go up the levels, but for now we'll just write a number. So we've got we're at level 1 of each of the guilds. And then over here I've put in a section for the different quests that you are doing. There's not really, or at all I don't think, a quest record section on the main sheet, so I ended up adding a record on the back of the quests. So I've split this up into 3 sections. You've got the giver location, so often when you complete a quest you have to go back to the location where you started. So that's the location of where you were given the quest. Then here you'll write which guild the quest was from, if it was from a guild. I don't know whether you can get quests from other places, maybe you can. And then some for the details. So I'm hoping that will allow me to keep track of things a little bit better. I've also on the back just added a general notes section, and everything else on the back is actually stuff that's on the main sheet anyway. But we're going to use that, so we're going to say goodbye to the sheet that comes with the game, and we're going to mainly use this sheet here. Let's find character creation. There's another nice bit of art there, some mechanic working on a glider engine or something. I do like it. It's very evocative of the world of Eridoor. Is there anything on character creation before that? Yes. Okay, so yeah, nothing that we need there. So we need to choose from a soldier, a merchant, explorer, scoundrel, navigator, or freelancer. Let's have one at random, shall we? Let's roll a dice and have one at random. 6. So we've got a freelancer. A freelancer. If there's a job needing doing, you're the one they ask for. Right, so we are given our initial stats here. We have got a stat of 3 for hardy, 2 for knowledgeable, and 1 for resourceful. We can write in our background as freelancer. So I guess that's sort of a handy person to have around, a bit of a jack of all trades, kind of known in the area. People rely upon him or seek his help when they have some kind of pinch to get out of that requires technical knowledge, or someone who just knows a bit of everything. Right, so we've got an ability here. It says here, work for hire. Always find +1 quest items when rewarded from explorations. That will come in very handy. So I'm going to pop that in my little introductory event. No, not my introductory event, sorry, my abilities section here. And then my goal is to complete 6 quests across all guilds. That's interesting. So rather than focusing on one guild and really getting up to the higher level quests, being a jack of all trades, I need to sort of spread the love around and get involved in all guilds. So that's kind of an interesting one to do as a beginner glide player, because it's going to allow me to become familiar with the sorts of quests that all of the guilds give. So I'm going to write that in my goal here. And actually I've just realised that there is 5 guilds in the game. So that means getting to level 2 with all the guilds, and then level 3 with one of the guilds. Yeah, I think that's kind of how it works. And then if we do that, we get an additional reward, which is well travelled, +1 to 2 different stats of your choice. But we'll come back to that when we need to. Right, so every character starts with 50 credits. Everyone starts with a max scrap capacity of 5. I don't think you start with any scrap. And a max relic storage of 1. And there's no limit to the number of quest items that you can carry. Now, we're also given a max of these other items, I think. Yep. So we're going to start with 5 max stamina, 3 max water, and 3 max fuel. And there are limits to how far those things can go up. Now, there's no mention that I can see in the book as to what you start with. We know our maximum, but we don't know our current amounts. So what I did in the last game, and I think that was absolutely fine, is I said that for water, fuel, and stamina, you start with the maximum amount that you can have, and for scrap and relics, you don't start with any. You have to go out and find those things. Okay, and I think other than thinking of a name, which I'm not good at, if you can comment and give me a cool sounding name for my character, then maybe I will use it. Don't hold me to that, but I might use it. So yeah, comment below. Tell me what you think of this game so far. Does it look intriguing? Does it look like the sort of game that you like? And if you can think of a name, pop that in a comment as well. So I think that's character creation mostly done. We will, to finish up, do the introductory event, which will give us the final pieces of the puzzle, and then we'll be ready to make a start. So we start the game in Moondew Valley. This location is a level 2 settlement. And I'm not really sure why the level of a settlement is important, if I'm honest. I haven't quite worked that out yet, but maybe that will become clear as we are playing. So if we look at our map, our settlement is here. You put it sort of roughly in the middle, and you can see we've got S1, so that allows us to track that location as S1, which means S for settlement, 1 I think because it's the first one we've discovered. And we've got a 2 here as well because this is a level 2 location. Now that's important if a location is explorable, but settlements are not explorable. You can't explore a settlement. So like I say, I'm not sure what that number is for, but I'm sure there's a reason for it. So I think I might go for sort of like triangle structures. Don't know why. Smoke coming out of little chimneys. Alright, so that's Moondew Valley. Now it says here that I should place a character token on that. I don't really like doing that with games like this because I just knock the token off. So I'm going to record in this notes section I've got here where I am and where I'm moving to. So at the moment I'm in location S1, and when I move on I'll write the next location there. And that's sort of what I'm going to experiment with doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a card. I'll shuffle these back in so we've got all the cards in the deck. We're going to draw a card, and that card is going to give us a 50-50 split on a list of possible introductory events. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the black list. So this is our red list of introductory events, this is our black list of introductory events, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I quite like the idea of rolling to find out what that's going to be. So there we go, I've got a 4-sided dice. Might be difficult to see what the result is on screen, but let's have a go. Okay, so that is a 4. So we're going to go for this 4th item here. Let me read out the intro first. Welcome to Moondew. You've never been to Moondew before today, but were told about the beautiful view and had to see it for yourself. As you park your glider by a fuel station, a friendly old man waves over to you. It's always nice to see a new face in the valley, he exclaims. Friendly faces are a good start to your visit here, no matter how long you will stay. Doesn't this already feel like it's not going to be an overly mean game? Like everyone who's left on Eridoor after the great houses went away after they took what they needed. People who are left are just kind of sort of working together and banding together. So it's nice to play something nice. So what do we got here? A place to hide. Replace fame with secrecy. You require 5 secrecy to win. Look at that. Pay 150 credits or 2 relics in Moondew to gain 1 secrecy. You cannot gain fame. Wow. On the run or hiding from the past. Eridoor is a place you can disappear in, letting the sand hide your tracks as you move ever forward. Okay, we'll go with that. I mean, I hesitated a little bit there because it felt like it was at odds with my background as a freelancer, jack of all trades, who everybody knows. But I guess I can be someone who everybody becomes familiar with and everybody knows, but they don't really know me. And I'm still here in order to hide from my past and improve my secrecy level, my ability to blend in and hide and become somebody new. So I'm going to write that in my introductory event section here. Alright, and that is our introductory event. So with that done, I think we're pretty much ready to make a start. We're in Moondew Valley, we're in the middle of this world that we have not yet explored. Introductory event has taken place, we've arrived, we know what we're doing. I might just cross out 2 rows of fame here and replace fame with secrecy. But other than that, I think we are ready to go. Hope you enjoyed that, folks. Please do join me as I continue this series. If you want to keep an eye out for new videos in this series, just subscribe and you will no doubt spot them when they come along. Thanks for watching. I shall see you in the next one.